what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do that? Then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
And welcome to the Coaches Show, episode number 53. I'm Coach Mike Bianca of the New Orleans Hurricanes, and with me as always is my good friend, Coach Ryan Gray. Our guest tonight is Coach Chris Fermoselle of the newest Major League professional paintball team, Leverage. We'll quickly discuss the most recent off-season moves. Well, there's a lot that happened actually since I wrote this, so we will discuss a lot of the stuff that's happened this week and today, then dive into what gives Leverage, well, leverage. See what I did there, Ryan? I love that stuff. It's too easy. Too easy. These things write themselves. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Maxed Sportswear. For all your custom paintball goods, get Maxed. New Coaches Show apparel is available now. And BKI, the best knowledge in paintball, bkipaintball.com. Be sure to use promo code COACHSHOW. The next Coaches Clinic will be February 1st at the Paintball Combine. Sign up and get clinic information will be released as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that. We hope to have some more on the show about that. We're really excited about working with BKI and the Paintball Combine. You know, you're interested in making Team USA? That's where it happens. If you're watching us on Facebook, please send stars and help support the content. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave comments. Obviously, Ryan, the point of this show is to provide coach-centric commentary, but we just have to talk about some of the news that has released today. It's incredible, huh?
Brother, I said it the first show after World Cup. This will be the most exciting offseason we have had in a very long time, and it just continues to produce. Another huge move today, right? Chris Scheer,
yes,
leaving San Diego Dynasty and joins Tampa Bay Damage.
That's right.
That's another big blow to Dynasty right now. We've seen Dynasty recover from things like this over the years.
Mm-hmm.
That we see things like this happen to them, and they seem to just bounce. I don't want to say bounce right back, but they find a way to get back.
Always.
Right? Find a way to get back. They are still San Diego Dynasty. So really, though, when you talk about a player like Marcelo leaving and now Chris Scheer leaving, and whether or not Archie is going to retire still kind of being up in the air, it's a lot. There's a lot going on for San Diego Dynasty.
Let's say he doesn't retire. Let's say maybe he only plays a couple of events. I mean, that's a big hamstring, right?
Still leaves some big question marks. Again, we kind of talked about this last week. You have Yosh who can fill right into Marcelo's spot. Then you have, Harrison Fry, who can kind of fill into the role that Chris Scheer was playing. But Chris kind of owned that space for the last year and a half, 2 years, right? Like he played every point as the one on the Dorito side and handled. Yeah. So San Diego Dynasty gets a little weaker. Tampa Bay Damage now gets significantly stronger. Already incredibly talented roster, now just got deeper and significantly more dangerous. I was talking to Joey Blute earlier about the move. He was talking about how he was going to be able to use Agent Smith kind of back and forth as the two on either side. He's really got some fun toys. And then he added another one.
Yep.
CJ Cantor, formerly of NYX, now on Tampa Bay Damage. So we kind of talked about that at the beginning of the season. Really, even on the last episode, we kind of went down the list of who needs guys still, right? And Damage was one of them that we talked about. Really needs a couple. Well, they got a couple.
Yeah, you can't talk about what this does to Dynasty without talking about what it does for Damage. All right, Chris Scheer leaves San Diego Dynasty, joins Tampa Bay Damage. to me, this is great for Chad Bashir, because what that does is, first of all, I think Chad Bashir is one of the best paintball players in the league today. Now, this frees him up to really play paintball, because I think he's a whole lot more than just that one attacker on the Dorito side. Totally. This is going to be a new toy for Joey here. I think you slide Chris into that, and you free up Chad Bashir to rock and roll. I think the CJ Cantor people, I might take some heat for saying this, but I think the CJ Cantor pickup, this is a great replacement for Rainey, because CJ's got such a mind for the game. He knows how to plug holes. His survivability is, top notch. So I think when you look at what has happened to Damage just became a whole lot more dangerous. This adds depth to their roster. You and I got to see kind of that connection between Jacob Edwards and Chris Scheer in France. And those two, my goodness gracious, man. So, yeah, I think Damage just got incredibly, incredibly potent. Not that they weren't already.
Yeah, right. You take the 5-6 guys that they have that are really, really good. You add 2 solid players with them. Again, I think, I kind of started this a few weeks ago. I started putting together I took everybody's top 3 players, and I kind of did a little bit of a player audit on each one of them from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. And then I ranked them in the league, right? Chris Scheer was my number 1 Dorito player in the league. Right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, from my perspective, they got the best Dorito player in the game. Only and a close second was Xavi, right? Was Chavez from Paintball Fit, for a couple of reasons. One, because Chavez got significantly better as the year went on. He became more dynamic. Chris Scheer was just, that dude was he was stable from the very beginning, right? Just a clutch guy from the first point. So I don't know what we can continue to say about those 2 pickups. I think they were both really good. I know smart. Iconic's been putting out grades. I hope that one's an A+ and an A probably with CJ, because I think they got a great pickup in CJ. Not just because of the player CJ is, but because of what it will allow Joey to do with the other pieces.
That's exactly my point. Yep.
Yeah, where he'll be able, because Agent Smith is really good in the middle of the field too. Being able to slide him around up in the middle of the field, which is a place where I thought they've been a little bit lacking at times, even though I know kind of Rainey is supposed to be this really great middle player. I don't think he really showed that a lot this season. I think he had 1 or 2 points really where he did it really well. But I think Agent Smith is maybe a little more dominant up there. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how Joey moves those guys around. So I hear another big pickup coming for Tampa Bay Damage in the next couple of days. Mm-hmm. So that will be exciting. Another thing, this one hit last week. Zach Geiger leaves the Ironman, joins Infamous. Right. So we talked about Infamous last week, still needing a couple of bodies, picked up Trevor Reeser, have now added Zach Geiger. So their roster continues to deepen. I still think maybe Infamous needs 1.
To me, this is interesting. So the pickup of Zach Geiger and Trevor Reeser, first of all, I think these are 2 players that just fit incredibly well into that camp, right? Yeah. I certainly feel this makes them much stronger. This makes that attack just got great depth. That attack just got even more attacky. To me though, the thing with Infamous will always be that threat in that field. You're never getting an easy game with Infamous ever, right? I don't care what this past season looked like. None of those games were ever easy. And it basically comes down to this. They're looking for that glue. Once Infamous learns how to play the field as a team consistently, we've saw moments from Infamous in doing that throughout the season, right? They've had some good events where they just seem to be executing together. They knew what they wanted to do. They imposed their will. Great stuff. If they can find that glue, right? That one, and maybe they've already found it. Maybe these 2 pickups, maybe somebody stepping up. Maybe Travis has now figured out what he needs to say and do as the coach. All these different aspects happen. But the minute that team learns how to be a team on the field, in their execution, they've got all the weapons, right? Now they just got to fire them off at the right way.
Let's grab a couple of these questions really quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not a question. It's a statement from Dan Shelley. Yeah, Dan, maybe, right? So I kind of talked about this with the pickup of Trevor. If he's allowed to be more creative, I do think they got stronger. If they try to, kind of use him as a system guy like he was on Impact, I don't know that he'll be as quote unquote impactful. But if they allow Trevor to be a little more free and creative, I do think he makes them stronger. Geiger, I still have a question mark around him. I think he had a really good World Cup last year. This year on the Ironman, he was consistent, but he wasn't he didn't go out and win a bunch of games, right? No. So it'll be interesting. But it's a good point, right? And it's still kind of a question mark. We'll see. This is a good question from Rich. Players getting older, that there will be an influx of younger blood. Just feels like so many old players switching jerseys. Yeah, for sure. But kind of, right? If you look at the Mouse, Tyler, Marcelo, Rainey move, they're not old. Those guys are in their early 30s.
Right.
So they're not really old. But I do think you're going to, and we talked about this on the last show, I do think you're going to start seeing some semi-pro guys that are going to start getting picked up. In fact, we kind of know of one that we can't talk about yet because it's not out there. Right. Yeah, and I think you're going to see a couple of more of those happen as teams have tryouts, where some semi-pro guys are going to come in. They're going to have opportunity to jump on teams as a project and potentially earn playing time. So I do think that that's coming. It's just not here yet.
Yeah. And we still got a lot of off season to go. So hang in there, because it's going to be a wild ride. We need to talk about Pat Kraft, formerly of NYX, announcing Los Angeles Ironmen. I think this is a solid pickup for the Ironmen. They just lost O'Mara. Pat is, pardon another pun, a crafty, versatile player. So I think this is a great move for the Ironmen. That's to me, I feel that's an A+ move as well. That fills a role, that fits a slot right there. Definitely checks a box for the Ironmen.
The other thing I like about that move is it adds another dynamic player who's not a role player, right? Where I felt like the Ironmen had a lot of guys who were role players. Losing Stephen O'Mara, who really isn't a role player, can kind of play everywhere, and then adding CJ to the mix, I think gives them adds back what they lost.
Yeah, adding Pat Kraft. CJ went to damage.
Yeah, sorry, Pat Kraft. Yeah, because Pat can play kind of everywhere.
That's right.
He's played up in the middle of the field. Last year in Europe, he really played mostly on the Dorito side. We've seen him play on the Snake side. He can kind of play everywhere. Yeah, so I'll kind of we'll talk about this one now. Somebody, David, what do y'all think of the Tauntaun FSU merger? So we definitely are going to jump into this. Actually, had permission to talk about this on the show even before it came out on Major League Paintball. So I got all the details. I don't necessarily want to steal, what the roster is going to look like, things like that. But it's interesting that it's kind of a merger, but not really a merger. Yeah. It's very interesting what they're doing. So Diego Santos, formerly of the Saints, he has been playing with Austin FSU in Europe for the last 2 seasons, has now decided he wants to play in America. So Diego has hired 5 of the Tauntaun players to come to America and play. And part of that process was they would rebrand as Tauntaun's FSU. And then Marky Franz, Diego, and one other player will be playing with that group. So there'll be 8 guys on the roster. It does sound like Pascal is going to come coach them, which is awesome because he's a fantastic coach. So that'll be really helpful. It certainly answers kind of some of the questions that we've had about what is FSU or Notorious going to do. Now we know, right? It's no longer going to be FSU. It's going to be, Austin Notorious. It is now going to be Tauntaun FSU. So it will be 5 of the Tauntauns and 3 additional players, maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll see. There were 4 guys still on that roster, 5 guys, still on that roster that we mentioned last week. One of those being Marky Franz, who will stay with the team and continue to play on the roster. We don't know about the other 4. We'll kind of keep our ear to the ground and see what's going to happen with those guys. The interesting thing is, what will the Tauntauns now do in Europe, right? So only one of them will be able to play on their European roster. They did have a tryout last weekend, so maybe that was the point of that, is to try to fill out that European line with other guys. But I mean, how do you replace Hugo, Thomas, Tava? Like, how do you replace those guys? Especially Tava, who's been the leader of that team for, the last 2 decades.
Colombo,
that's Tava.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, what will Tontorius do? It's going to be one of those things that I think, by the way, thank you, Dan Shelley. I love that name, Tontorius. I love it. So here's the thing, the question that everyone wants to know. Rumor was that Axel had committed to X Factor. Will he be part of this new crew? And I heard that he was sticking with X Factor. So we'll see.
That is not what I was told today.
Okay, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen.
I was told today that Axel will be playing with Tauntaun FSU.
There it is.
We'll see. We'll see. But that's what I was taught. Axel did not tell me that, but a really, really, really good source told me that. So we'll see.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So we actually broke that, David. We broke that news last week. Revo is now called Arsenal. They're working on the rebrand now, but that will be official before the 2025 season. We broke that news with Chris Jansen last week on our show. So they are now Arsenal.
Correct. And yes,
yeah, David, that's another, so that's another one I was going to bring up, that there will be one more rebrand coming. Yeah. Is NYX coming with another team or staying pro? So NYX actually was relegated, right? So they can't stay pro because they're not pro right now. However, there is a team that will be rebranding as NYX. That is more than likely going to happen. Again, I've heard it from a really good source. But again, we try not to talk about those things as for sure until it breaks or we hear it from Chris. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Come on, Chris. Stop it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we try not to talk about things until for sure they are if I don't hear it from Harris, if Harris from Kings doesn't tell it to me, we'll talk about hey, it's probably going to happen, but we don't know for sure, right? So we're not going to tell you something for sure until we know for sure. The things I'm telling you about FSU is for sure. I heard it from a really good source. So yeah, that's what's happening with those teams. Really wild off season.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's just beginning.
It's
just beginning.
Yeah. And we're still, we're just now 3 weeks into this thing. So
I know. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Harris is so quiet.
Yes. Yes. And those of you asking about what is this? What did you say? The Canes, Dynasty, Heat, Camp, all been kind of quiet. Yeah, that's purposeful.
Yeah, for sure. Canes having trials soon. Dynasty will rebuild. Heat is still Heat. Yeah. So, but Joe, one of the big questions we keep talking about with Heat is kind of right. There's a lot going on in the Heat camp, a lot of noise, but we really don't know. Right? We don't know really what's going on with them. They have been quiet. Ryan and Sarge were hunting. I'm going to try to get a hold of Ryan Smith, kind of find out what's going on. But he may not want to share, and I'll totally respect that if he doesn't. But yeah, Heat has been really quiet. They've been very quiet, but they've lost 2 really solid players. Now, again, when you look at their roster, I mean, it's just, it's all-star after all-star after all-star after all-star on that roster. And that could have been part of the problem. They had too many guys.
Yeah.
We
talked about that last week, right? We talked about, hey, this might create an opportunity for that cohesion and that smaller roster to really unleash a lot of the potential in those players, those remaining players. So, I mean, it is you've got an elite squad there. So,
yeah. So, Chris, great question. We're actually going to bring another Chris in who can probably help with that because he's in a really cold part of the area. And maybe he can tell you what are some good ways to practice around the cold. So I just got a text message that says, I can confirm Axel is on the team.
All right.
I'm
There you have it.
I have confirmation. I just got a text from my source that says you can confirm with everyone he is on the team. So
Excellent.
Axel is on the team.
There it is.
So.
All right.
What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing very well. Good. First of all, congratulations to Leverage. Fantastic job this season. Top 3 every event, right? So you did it right. You earned your way, and that's how you do it. Now, the first question on everybody's mind, the first question for you, Chris, here on the Coaches Show, episode number 54. Or is it 53? I don't remember.
53.
Anyway,
53.
53. The first question is, will it be New Jersey Leverage?
Yes, it will definitely be New Jersey Leverage. And to add on top of that, just to take a step back real quick, thank you for having me guys on the show. Thank you for the kind feedback in the comments. We definitely worked our butts off to get to where we're at right now.
Yeah, man. You did it the right way.
You did it. Absolutely.
Love it.
Yes.
I mean, let's look at that, right? A first place in Vegas, a third place in Texas, a second place in Atlantic City, a third place in Chicago, a third place at World Cup. Top 3, the entire event, perfectly consistent. And that's what's necessary to be, to take that next step. Consistency is one of the hardest things to create.
I believe you guys spoke about this with the head coach from Sea Dogs the other week. Consistency, as you guys have mentioned, it's a huge part to this sport, and especially being at that semi-pro, level of play. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to win every event, but you got to be consistent to stay on top of there. Points really do matter. It's big for us. So I think that it helped us tremendously to secure that spot overall, where compared to other teams, you didn't have teams that would place every event. They were kind of scattered all over the place, with the exception of the Sea Dogs being kind of right behind us. So, yeah.
This guy's team won a pro spot without winning a tournament through an entire season.
There you go. I know. I recall hearing that as well.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what it takes, right?
Right. And it's interesting too, in the last 4 years, we've had polar opposites, right? We had a team that literally didn't, the semi-pro division that year was so competitive. I think there were 6 teams that year that were all like in the middle of the season that were all in contention. And then by World Cup, there were 4 that were like, right, if any of these teams place in this area, they could win the tournament. They could win the whole series, right? 4 teams. It's wild, right? And then you go to the other end of the spectrum with Paintball Fit that like just
dominant.
Just dominated the entire year and left no doubt that, hey, we're going pro next year, right? So, right. But for you guys too, going into the World Cup, and we talked about it in our World Cup preview, you guys pretty much had it locked up because of the way they do the Championships Cup now. I think you really only had to make it through, like make it onto the top 4 and you're good, right? Get to play the semifinal game and you guys had the series locked up.
Correct. Yeah. We needed to win that first quarters match of ours. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And which is, I mean, that's a great situation to be in, right? Win one game. Yeah. You win the series. So
it's a great situation to be in. Definitely a lot of pressure, a lot of things on the line. Leading up to that event, to World Cup and to that literally one match, everything was coming down to one match. However, and you guys touched upon this as well, the seeding matches that we had prior, in the beginning of the event, those really helped us out as well. And although for some, on one side you could say they don't matter, for us, we everything matters to us. And it guaranteed us a higher percentage chance of winning if we were to win all 3 of those games, which we did. Because then the last place that we could be in would be a 5th.
That's right.
Right. So
you get that first place seed, which ensures that higher seed if something goes south in the quarters. Not only that, though, by putting out, you're basically playing the other 2 best teams in the league, right? You're going after it. Right. You're hunting for it. You're fighting for it. And then you're going to come into another team that's battle tested, but not nearly as battle tested as you. And so I think, yeah, you have to take that incredibly seriously. So well done there too, as well.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Rich, we will ask that question later. It's part of the mix of questions that we're going to ask. You watch this show enough, you got to know we're going to ask that question.
Right.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. You should know
So
better.
just so the people can kind of, I mentioned this in the green room, we want to make sure that people understand who you are. Again, the purpose of our show is to give people resources and information about coaching, right? You've just come through a journey where you've helped a semi-pro team win a pro spot. Lots of semi-pro coaches, lots of divisional coaches are going to have questions for a guy like you. And we want to make sure that people know who you are. So when they see you at an event, they can walk up, and if you have time and feel comfortable, they can ask you questions, that kind of thing. But in order for them to do that, they need to know you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about you, your playing and then coaching journey, how it came about. How'd you become a coach?
I understand. I'll try to make this as quick as possible, but I actually had a family business. We had the first indoor paintball facility here in New York City. This is back in 2014, 2004. And so I grew up, my whole life has been paintball. I've been around it my entire life, from the business side to the playing side of things. And so fast forward a little bit to how me and Leverage came to be is these guys have been playing since they were 10, 12 years old. I mean, just like most of us, that's when we all start. But these guys were killers from the start. From 2013, I believe they were playing Division 4 paintball, and they were winning these tournaments, these locals all around. Fast forward to like 2017, 2018, there was a Foxball tournament going up on like the Northeast region. And that's when I kind of came on board and joined and helped play with them and start my journey there. Started winning a lot of locals around the area. We started playing Division 2 for X-Ball. They were in Division 3 already, but I jumped on around the Division 2 time. And we were just doing great. Fast forward then again to the semi-professional when we went to go jump up. I kind of made an internal decision where, you're on another level of playing paintball. And at this level, you need to have a coach. You guys have spoken about it numerous times that the coaching position it's a serious position now. It's not like, all right, some guy with a clipboard and go see what they do. Like, it's very intensive. There's a lot of things that go into the back end of coaching a team and really doing the right stuff and the right things to build the team, to grow the team. So I had taken a step back saying, hey, you know what, we need a coach going into the next event and the next year, especially if we want to take this to the next level. I was able to kind of do that, take the step back and still be a part of the team and still get to be a part of what I love to do, my whole life. So this year, I would say this is our real first official season of where my coaching position was really there. The guys did a tremendous job throughout the year in terms of playing every event. It might be a little bit all over the place, but just in terms of coaching these guys, what really helped is that I came from the team. We all used to play together. So those interpersonal relationships that I have with these guys, I know these guys' tendencies, their attitudes, their work ethics. I know what it takes, to motivate or, to whatever it takes at the end of the day to kind of make this team function. And, it's hard to do that when you're a coach and you're brought into a completely new team and there's no background or history, right? I feel bad for some of those people, but it's part of the job and I get it. But luckily enough for myself, I was part of the team. We've all been around together. It's one of those PB Fit stories that you guys have talked about. But a huge success to why this all worked and why this continues to work is because literally we've grown up together, we played together, we hang out together, we're at the field every weekend together. We play a lot of paintball. So hopefully that's in a nutshell.
What I just heard there, Chris, was this. So you come from that team. One of the key components in a relationship between a coach and their team is trust. And so if you came from that team, they trusted you, they already knew you, you knew their tendencies. And the best part of being part of that ground up type, organic type of situation is no one's afraid of the honesty. As a coach, you can be incredibly honest with them, and they know you're not BSing them because they know you know them. And so whatever excuse they might have, or whatever type of, comment or what have you, how they learn, how they coach, how they play, whatever, their strengths, their weaknesses, all these great things, you're already familiar with them. So they're already comfortable with the criticism because they already recognize it in themselves. So I think what you just take that, listen to all that out there, ladies and gentlemen, those of you coaches out there, if you find yourself in that organic opportunity, just like Chris did, that's a great, powerful tool, is honesty and trust. Those are the tools that get things done in a team like that, that's really trying to be serious and really trying to grow. So that's what I heard there. And I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. And, I watched you guys in Division II. We were at the Philadelphia tournament. I was coaching FSU, and you guys didn't play the first, I think that was the year they had like a minor and then a major, and then that one.
Yep.
And so you guys didn't play the first two events. And I was standing with Billy Wing, and we were watching a match, and you guys were playing. I don't remember who you were playing, but it was your first match. And I kind of watched what you guys were doing, and I was like, who is this? And so I pulled it up, I was like, Leverage? Who the hell's Leverage? So I went and looked at some APPA stuff and saw you guys have played the NEPL and some other tournaments. And I was like, all right, so they're a Northeast team. That's kind of like their, home NXL. But then I kind of I followed you guys through the tournament. And when we got to Sunday, I was like, okay, this team's going to surprise some people. And I think you guys got third.
Yeah. We most likely did. We almost ended up winning that entire series for the title series. It ended up being KC All-Stars that took it.
No, it was us.
Sorry.
It was FSU.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. This was in 2021.
Division II. Sorry. Okay.
No,
okay.
It was Division II in 2021.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Yes, and you guys played that one and maybe World Cup, but nonetheless, you guys got third at that event. And then when you guys started playing the next season, you guys started playing more, and we had moved to semi-pro. Right. So you guys were in Division II. That was the year with KC All-Stars. The year we won the series, we didn't even have to play World Cup to win the series. It was done. But you guys looked really good. And then you played in the Division II year with, and I remember it was really just you and KC. And then that's when Chris left. And I was like, dang, crap. I really because there's always a guy who's kind of a glue guy. Right. And Chris is kind of your glue guy. He's the guy that kind of keeps things together. So when Caputo went on to play with the Bears, I hated that. Right. Because I knew that would mean probably Leverage is done. Right. Probably we won't see Leverage again. And then when he made the decision last year to go back, I was like, okay, great. Right. Because I felt like you guys got the first couple of chapters of a story, and then it just ended. Right. And so watching you guys get to finish the story last year was awesome. Right. It was so good. And it's, and it is very Paintball Fit-esque, right? It's a group of guys that played together for a long time, really stuck together other than that 1 year. And so it is a great story. And it's one I think people will respect and need to know because you guys also play a ton of paintball, right? I watched Chris and Ivan, Ivan was a good friend of mine. He played with us on FSU at World Cup in 2022. Right. And so I watched them on social media. You guys play a ton of paintball. They play a lot in the cold.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned, cold weather things. Chris Kurtz brought this up, and so I'll just answer it now. They played in the snow. They shoveled the snow off the side of the field and are wearing full face coverings with just a hole in the mouth with their goggles over them and gloves. And I think in one video I saw Chris Caputo pull his gloves off, play the point, and immediately run back and put his gloves back on. So you guys play a lot and you play in gnarly conditions. So it is very paintball-esque or Paintball Fit-esque, right? I don't know that you guys play 5 days a week like they do, but you guys play a lot of paintball.
Yeah, well, so to kind of expand on that, as you said, these guys play, they live, breathe, die paintball. All right. Chris Caputo, Frankie Prosciutto, Zach Moran, Rick Moran, a lot of these guys, the core guys of the team, you will catch them at the field every weekend. World Cup ended and they're there the next weekend, literally. It's really not even a joke. The conditions is something that, again, on your previous episodes and like we're talking about now, it's definitely a challenge being here in the Northeast. We have to play in this cold weather. There's snow, rain, whatever it is. There's just no other option. If you want to compete at this level, you just got to go out there and do it. As a coach, sometimes, of course, I do concern myself with the safety, and especially as these guys get older, injuries do happen. We experienced them a couple of them throughout this past season. It's something that always makes me nervous, but at the same time, it's kind of like we don't really have any other option. But the attitude that these guys have going about it, it's tremendous. It's the work ethic. I don't think, and I don't personally know anybody else that works harder than us in the Northeast. That might be saying a lot here for, maybe the chat might be going off, but as to your point, you look up Chris Caputo, you'll see his videos every week and he's at the field, right? And a bunch of the other guys are there. And it's just, if we want to compete at this level, it's whatever it takes, we're going to have to do it.
That's right.
Yeah. Great question. Lots of questions in the chat for you, Chris. And I some of these are really, really good, and they're coach oriented. And so I really want to dive into these, coming from, and the coach of Dallas Vive, Rich, coming from a team and having relationships with the players. Do you find it difficult to separate emotional calls from statistical calls in critical coaching moments?
So that's a great question. I believe as a coach, there's always going to be a form of emotional attachment to every decision that you make, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge of being a coach, as I'm sure you guys know. But I think that what has to happen, the pre-context to that has to be that you have to have these conversations with your team, and they have to be on the understanding of that. Hey, when we walk through, when we're on the field, when you walk through those nets, this is business, right? And when we come off the field, we go back home, we're friends, right? Just like in anything else, business and family. When you have that understanding, when you have that mutual trust, you don't get mad at each other. You know what? And if anything, the players on this team they'll gladly sit themselves and say, yeah, put this guy out. Go ahead, give this guy a chance. There's really never rarely ever any times where people do not trust each other. The team trusts each other a lot. So that makes my job easier as well if when those critical calls come to happen. But to summarize it, that conversation, the context has to be spoken about before. And as a player, if you can't be okay with that, and if you're going to be emotionally attached, I don't know if that's going to be, if this is the place for you, right?
Good answer.
So,
excellent answer.
Yeah.
Right. Because those decisions are made at practice, right?
Yeah.
So
they definitely are as well.
It's another good one from Dan Shelley. What, if anything, will you change with your coaching style going from semi-pro to pro?
There's always, of course, things that you want to work on personally. For myself and as a team, where we found that we want to step up our coaching ability is in those critical moments, in those semifinal matches, those Sundays of paintball, right? We're a team that we're used to being in that top 4 spot. And if you see, we kind of almost nearly dominate every time leading into the spot. And when we're there in that critical match of getting past that semifinal match to lead into that first and second, there's always there's some calls that we know where we should have did this, or, I'm looking at myself, I should have did this differently. Of course, that's everyone is going to go through that, right? Everyone goes through those moments, but that's when you live and you learn. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that I'd like to work on. And then just to kind of finalize the second part to that question is, not so much change, but more so adapt. And what I mean by that is, I'm used to semi-pro paintball, right? I know the guys that are on these teams from these semi-pro teams. I know, okay, their play style, where they're going to go, who they like to play. I'm the new kid in the school, right? I'm the new kid in the school. I got to learn and now really focus on all these other teams, their play styles, get to know, their tendencies. And it comes down to a lot of data, a lot of, watching these guys and being a part of this coaching responsibility that you have.
Yeah.
So
adaptation, great word.
Yeah.
Totally. And as it becomes, as you talk about data collection, I also want to make sure I mention to you that for the most part, all of the pro coaches are also really open to sharing like how we track things. Like we've got some stuff on our social media. If you shoot me an email, I'll send you a bunch of stuff that Mike, myself, Skinny, Rich, we have a pretty good network of coaches that we all just share data. Not data. We share the way we collect it. Right. So like any of that stuff that you want that you can take and make it your own, all we ask is if you make something really cool, send it to us, right? Like send us back.
Yep.
If you want us to give you stuff, you got to give back. Right. But like, feel free to ask a lot of questions. Like that's the other good thing too, is once you're kind of in that circle, like everybody will be open to sharing ideas and sharing things with you and answering questions. And it's really a fun group to be a part of. So just like the players, communicate with one another, so do the coaches. Like we all talk pretty regularly and share information about how we collect data. So you're absolutely
100%.
right. Like the one thing I do want to mention, you mentioned on like working on those critical moments because you've been in semifinals and that's where you guys are used to be. That's going to happen in match one right away. So like the way the pro league is now, every single match you play is important. Every match you play is a semifinal match. I mean, they're all just really, really difficult. There is no going into a match now and just running away with it for the most part, right? If you're if you're Red Legion or, one of these teams that plays really high tempo and you're amazing in space with your guns, maybe, right? But for the most part, you're going to be jumping into those situations right away. So you're going to have plenty of opportunity to hone those skills, right? Plenty of opportunity. But another thing I would tell you, watch a shitload of tape. Watch as much film as you can. Put yourself like mentally and emotionally in the coach's shoes through this offseason. Like, would I have made that same decision or not? And then in some instances, again, you can even call the coach and say, hey, I'm watching your match from blah, blah, blah. Can you tell me why you did that? What did you see that made you do that? They'll probably tell you. You. So watch a lot of film. Watch a lot of film and try to put yourself in the place of the coach.
I'll piggyback on top of that, Chris. I'll piggyback on top of that a little bit because something I like to do when I'm watching matches, right? If I'm watching tape, I'm talking live matches. I'll put myself in the shoes of a specific coach, whichever ones I'm choosing to put myself in the position of, and I'm going to call what I think he should do. And then I'll compare what I have decided what I would do if I were him and then what they actually do. And that's how I practice. That's one of the ways I practice. And that's how I teach myself, I get an idea of what I'm probably going to do and why I'm going to do it. And I always have a reason for why I'm doing it. But then when I see what they do, if it doesn't match up, I make a note on that point, on that match, blah, blah, blah. And if I get an opportunity, and if I run into that coach, I will ask him in person, hey, why did we do this? Or why did we push him here? Why did we play this space? What was it you were seeing that made you think this? And that's something. And then, of course, track whether or not it works or not, right? Those are types of things because that's also going to lead to more statistical data, but forget the math. Do that. If you get an opportunity when you're watching live tape, whether you're watching live tape or you're in the stands, just make a note to yourself. If I'm so-and-so, I'm doing this, and make a note why you're doing it and then see how it plays out.
Got it. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for the advice and, the resources. It's good to know there's this network of coaches here, on the professional level, and definitely excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
100%.
So kind of jump back. So Mike gave you your stats, right? Vegas, you win. Texas, you're third. Atlantic City, you're second. Chicago, you're third. World Cup, you're third. A lot of thirds, right? What grade would you give leverage for 2024?
Grade in terms of where we'll be in like where we place, or what do you mean? Grade overall?
Yeah, how would you grade? So like I don't know again how often you listen. Like Joey, we have Joey Blute comes on right after winning Chicago. And the first thing Joey says right before we break down the match is, to be honest, I would give us a B- for this match. He's like, we made a lot of mistakes. We should have gotten beat. A coach, and it's really hard to balance this, especially with a team that is successful. But again, you guys have a lot of thirds. You got a lot of thirds.
Right.
So when you're pragmatically going through your breakdown after the tournament's over, and you're looking, like, I grade myself, right? I normally find several mistakes that I've made throughout the tournament, like, damn it, I should have done this, I should have put this guy here, I should have played this dude more. Like, what grade would you give Leverage?
So just for the I was gonna say
for
for
the
the
season.
season. Listen, for the season, I would give us a C. Honestly, a C or a D. And the reason that I say that is because if you ask any of the players on the team, none of these guys are going to take that to heart. And the reason being is because we expect so much out of ourselves. We know where we're supposed to be and what place we're supposed to be in these tournaments and how we're supposed to finish. And the only people that end up beating us at the events, I know this is a little cliche, it's ourselves. We lose it to ourselves. I truly don't think that there was no match that we couldn't have won throughout the season. A lot of the reasons that we ended up losing those matches were, of course, there's always going to be play calling involved, but stupid penalties, as always, affect a lot of teams. Just people not making smart decisions on the field. And just that's really it. Those matches that we lost, we pretty much just gave away. And so when each of these events, even when we lost and we knew that we couldn't win that first place, the guys would get upset. It would take a little bit before we had to go play that third and fourth place match. And it's just because the guys really just know that we don't deserve we deserve better. We know we should have had it. We gave it to them. It was never an instance that, hey, this team really just blew us out. So to answer your question, it would be like a C or a D, because, and even to myself, I expect more out of myself. The guys expect more out of themselves and expect more out of each other.
Yeah. I think with the first, second, and 3/3, that you could have beaten anybody at any time. I think that's proof. I really do.
Yeah.
Any team that's in the top 3 every event is in the hunt every time. So therefore, I agree with your assessment. I'm not sure. I like the thought process here. We expected better. We beat ourselves. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And I don't think that's at all cliche, right? Like, if it's
I don't
real,
if it's real,
then if you controlled everything that you could control and you lose, you got beat. If you got bad penalties, people made a bunch of mistakes, you lost. You didn't get beat, you lost. You lost.
Right.
So, and those are really hard. Those are, for me, those are harder than we got beat.
Same.
Of course, yeah, because it's
way harder.
The ball was in our court. We had control of our destiny at multiple times, and it's frustrating when things don't go your way because of stupid little things, right?
Totally.
So,
yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm in that camp as well, Ryan and Chris. I'm that guy that I do not do well. I'm the guy now. I have to fix my own brain when we lose a match where we lost. They didn't win. Right.
That's
we
tough.
through it. So
it's tough. So your roster for 2024, you had Chris Caputo, you had Alfred, Zach, Ricky, Frankie, Chris, and Jacob, which I hear a lot of good things about Jacob. So we'll talk about him in a second. Are we expecting everyone to return for 2025?
I can answer that as yes. Everyone will be returned for 2025. Yes, sir.
All right, because one of the questions in the chat was, how do you keep Caputo on the roster? So
no, it's a great question. No, but he like you said, the moment he came back, it's kind of like the last cinder block of our theme, right? And kind of put everything together. Ended up finishing out that story that you mentioned, that kind of the last chapter. And he doesn't have any plans on going anywhere. Well, yeah, right.
It's not finished.
Well, of course, it's not finished. It's not finished, but starting the professional year, right?
It's just
Yeah, you just
beginning.
finished
Baby.
one chapter.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, there's still a whole lot of the story to be written.
So yeah, the roster will be there. We are looking maybe for one or two extra people out there. So for some people that may be listening, some pro players or even some semi-pro players out there, if they are interested, love to hit us up. Hit us up on our page. But we're keeping our options open as well.
That was going to be my next question. Are you looking to make any additions? And somebody also asked in the chat, if so, are you looking to add veterans?
Right.
As I just said, I think we're keeping our options open. We're in a whole nother level of paintball here, and there's a lot of different variables and factors that can attribute to the success of this team, and we can't just kind of say no to anything right now. We're just here to kind of digest everything that comes along, and hopefully, and we'll make the best decision that we can.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, I like that. So I've got to know, what's the plan? Is there an off season? You hear coaches always, there's no off season, right? So I'd imagine if you were anything like the Hurricanes, once that season was over, you've made the pro spot, there is no off season. It's okay. We are making a big step. It's time for us to take this very, very seriously, and we need to start putting in the time. So what's an off season going to look like for New Jersey Leverage?
So as we kind of touched upon it, there's no off season here on this team. You'll catch Caputo. I mean, even on tomorrow's Tuesday. You'll catch him even on the field during the weekdays. Some of the other guys as well, but these guys do not stop playing. That's what helps these guys perform so well. It's why I believe why we won this entire thing. But an off season for Leverage, there really is none. I mean, the only reason that we won't be out on that field is because literally, physically, because of Mother Nature will not allow us. Because whether it's too much snow, it's not a matter of anything else. But it is challenging here in the Northeast. Again, with rain, snow, cold weather, and it's not fun. And not just to say, I mean, although we're out there, it's hard, it's hard to get other teams to come as well because other people are experiencing the same sort of issues. Their commitment level might not be there like ours is, right? So there is no off season. These guys will be at the field. Anybody around us in the area, feel free to always stop by. These guys are always there working on their own individual games as a team or individually, and they're more than willing to help them out.
Yeah, Jonathan just said he did not hear Ivan or Sanborn. I didn't, and I'll just answer the Ivan thing. I didn't say Ivan's name just simply because I don't know if he's returning. I'd heard he's probably not. I heard he stepped away at World Cup and helped coach and kind of made the decision that he was probably not going to return for 2025. But I don't know if Ivan's put that out there yet.
So I don't want to I don't want to put that out there for him. I would definitely wait to see what he says. It is in the air. I think he's still debating what he wants to do. We of course would love to have him one way or another. And Christopher Sanborn, if we didn't mention him before, he is 100% on the team. One of the founding members, one of the best guys on the team in terms of just attitude, great personality, great player. And yes, so that hopefully that addresses those two.
I did say him.
Okay, good.
I'd say Chris. Yeah. He was the second. He was right before Jacob.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was right before Jacob. But Ivan, I didn't mention just simply because I didn't know what his plan was going to be, and yeah, we'll see. I hope he comes back.
This out real quick.
Yeah, me too. I really hope he great part of the team. As you said, he stepped back, helped coach for the last event. Great player as well. He had his moments throughout the series, and helped us secure some wins and some matches for us. So would love to have him.
So I'm going to throw this out just because I want to get Chris's answer, and then Ryan, I want to see if you agree with me. And one of the questions in there was, what advice would we give to Chris, right? What's the biggest difference between making that leap from semi-pro to pro. And one of the person, and of course I think it was Atticus Rich, but basically what he was asking was, what's the biggest gap here? And is it the differences in decision making? And I stated, no, I think the biggest difference is mistake mitigation. I believe that in semi-pro, each match you can get away with a couple of mistakes. In pro, the team who makes the least amount of mistakes or makes the first mistake is not getting away with anything. So I think that, in my opinion, that's the biggest difference between the two divisions, right? You still got those guns on the break. You've got a little bit more of a defensive approach in semi-pro, but there's a lot more aggression in pro. But I think in my opinion, it's mistake paintball, right? You've got to mitigate those mistakes. So in your opinion, Chris, what do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle to change from going from semi-pro to pro? And then after that, Ryan, what do you think it is?
Got it. So I definitely, I'll piggyback off a little bit. I do agree that, I mean, in almost anything, right, at any level, it's the least amount of mistakes that you make is obviously going to help you. We talked about before how we do always have that sense and feeling that we are in control most of the time during these matches. And again, the reason that we go down or give up points are usually self-inflicted reasons that happen to us, penalties, it's just people dying stupidly. So I know that if we minimize that, right, if we can keep that under control and these guys can play straight up paintball, I know that we will be a force to reckon with on that field. I'm very excited for the pro division to really get to know who these guys are and how these guys play. For finally, right, they're going to be on the national spotlight. So I am very confident in that aspect. But if you were to ask me what the hardest thing for me is, what I think it's going to be, it's again kind of resetting and now having to adapt to these new players. I'm pretending I don't know anybody in the professional league. I got to watch tape, as you mentioned, watch more content, look at these practices that these guys are doing. Obviously, we'll be fortunate enough to practice against these guys as well throughout the season, right? So
Yeah.
I know that both of you are really big on collecting data. And funny story, really quick. I attended the coaches clinic back in Vegas when we had it. So that's the first one that you guys had, I believe, right? It was in Vegas this past year?
Vegas was we just kind of, that was like a intro to coaching thing, but yes.
Right, exactly. I was there though. I was in the stands right there. And the one thing I'll be honest with you that I picked up is really the data collection. I'm an analytics guy and marketing guy in real life, so I'm really big on marketing and data, right? And I said, this is completely right. And then you pulled out your sheet of, like you were talking about before, the resources that you guys have as coaches and the way that you track things. And so I started to shift the way that I would track breakouts and points during these events.
Awesome.
So
Great.
thank you guys. That's because of you. So for real. But again, so jumping back is just, I got to go through that process all over again. So in conjunction with, new players, how I'm going to scout these people, get to know these people, these tendencies. I think that's the biggest challenge. I'm not worried about the performance that we're going to put on the field. I have tremendous faith in this team, their abilities, their talents, that we are going to be a force to reckon with, as I mentioned. That's kind of almost the least of my worries. It's more of me and the guys starting to know who we're going up against and how they play. Because once we figure that out, we have a lot better chance of success of winning those matches.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good answer.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you want
Thank you.
to add anything?
No, not. I mean, just because I do think you and Rich said the same thing. You just said it in opposite ways. I mean, I do think it comes down to the biggest difference between what happens in semi-pro and pro is decision making. It's how we talk about this, I think, on every show. It's the Rolodex of scenarios and situations that these guys have been in 10,000 times, and you haven't yet, right? And it's just they understand that, again, they have 1,000 scenarios and or 1,000 solutions to the problem, and you've got 10, right? And so I do think a lot of it comes down to decision making and how quickly they can put the math together and figure it out and make the change. And again, it all comes down to that's risk mitigation, right? It comes down to knowing where their gun needs to go because that guy died and that was his job. So I'm going to go that way. And then vice versa. If they shoot you and they knew that gun was going to be in this space, they know how to take advantage of it really quickly. And so I do think Rich said it right. It's about decision making. And then you said it right too, because you said it in just the opposite way. Right.
Right.
One thing I want to touch on, Chris, is first of all, I wanted you to know I love how confident you are. And I think that's really important
Yes.
To the success of your group.
Thank
But I
you.
do want to ask, like, what do you have a plan? Because you guys haven't been pushed around in a year.
Mhm.
Do you have a plan for when that's because it's going to happen? You're going to lose matches. You're going to lose matches. You may even get blown out a time or two. It could happen.
Mhm.
What's the plan? Like, have you guys talked about like, hey, we're going to bump into shit. Like, it's just the nature of sports. What's our plan when that happens? Like, how do we make sure that we hold each other accountable to the attitude and culture in the pit to make sure that we continue our journey in a positive way? Because it's going to happen. It's gonna.
Right.
You guys have a plan for that?
So again, I mean, I would love for the answer to be that yes, of course, right? But of course, this is new, and just like anything else new in life, um, you gotta take it one step at a time.
Sure.
We don't have the answers for everything, right? And only experience will show us and teach us those valuable lessons. And when you're kind of on that sort of level of thinking, there's no other way to kind of go around it, right? You have to kind of go through the fire to learn from it. There's no People can kind of help you and talk about it as much as they can, but you gotta live it, right? You gotta go through it. I think it's the culture on the team. We know what division we're going into right now. We respect the people that we're going up against. These are guys that we all, as players, as a coach, we have respect for. We watch these guys kill it out there on the field, right? Um, I think it's not a matter when the situations do happen, and like you said, they will happen. There's not everything's perfect. We're gonna live. We're gonna learn. Um, we again, we get the team gets down on themselves because we know that we can do better in the wherever we end up messing up, and not so much that we're kind of coming at each other's throats in a way. I don't know if that kind of makes sense,
You
right?
might.
Um,
Yeah.
Right, I get it,
You
right?
might.
Of course,
Yeah.
there always is, but again,
You guys are New Yorkers.
we are right. A huge part of our success is that we're family, and again,
Mhm.
that whole culture of yelling at each other, coming at each other's next, yeah, it might come out and slip out here and there, but at the end of the day, we really have had a good part of mitigating that during those matches, remaining calm, and just trusting each other. That's what it comes down to. You just have to trust each other. And when if you see your boy something happen, talk to them. When they hop off you coming off the field, you have a conversation, right? You're not having an argument, right? And so if when you have that respect for one another, there's rarely it's you're not going to end up in a screaming match, right? Again,
Yeah.
we might, and I'm sure there might be instances, right? But again, we live and we learn. I don't have I can't say that we're going to be ready for it. We're going to be as prepared as we can for it. That's, I guess, the
You
answer I
should
can
have
give
a
you.
plan is really what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
You should
yeah.
have
I
a
mean,
plan. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, again, I definitely will. I feel you. I understand.
Everybody has a plan till you get punched in the face. So everyone
Right.
should have a contingency for when they get punched in the face. And but you said something there, right? If you really are family fights. Family fights,
Totally.
but you still love each other.
Sometimes worse.
Sometimes worse than
Like,
strangers, right? So because you know each other so well and you've expected so much more out of each other. But at the end of the day, that's what's going to end up putting you over the hump. So have a plan.
Right.
If you mean the family thing, you'll get through it.
Yeah. I'm very confident that we will.
same. Yeah, this is a good one. Are you looking for assistant coaches, people for pit crew?
That
So
is a good
this is
question.
actually a great question, something that I actually would love to touch upon. And I think for the lower divisional teams and even for the people that are now in semi-pro or stepping into that division, again, kind of expand on this coaching role and the position that this really is in the sport nowadays, I actually think that one coach is not enough, right? He was asking about assistant coaches, and right, I understand at the pro level that there's organizations, right? And there's a coach, assistant coach, but pretty much, long story short, looking back in the season as a coach in semi-pro, right? You're trying to see what's going on in the match while it's going on. You're trying to see if your players are alive or they're dead. You're trying to see what the other team is doing, and then you're trying to call out the play for the next thing. You got to call personnel, right? Again, I know it sounds a little like, yeah, that's what a coach does, but when you're really in the mix of doing all that, it's almost impossible. It's like you're not going to be as efficient when it comes to doing it,
There
right?
it is.
And so this past World Cup, when Ivan actually came to help coach, we had separate duties where actually I took a step in terms of the analytical side, and I actually did more scouting and scouting before matches and scouting during the matches. And I would literally go up to Ivan, like, here's what they're doing. This guy's doing this, that. He would, analyze the information and make the proper line, or, call for the next personnel to go on.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot. It really helped a lot. And so, approaching this the professional year, I'm sure we're going to have more than one coach, assistant, whatever the title is. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, as long as you're here to help with, get us a win at the event. That's all that matters. But yeah, it's something I did. I love that we were touching upon it, because I don't think people realize that you need more than one person.
That's
Rich,
smart.
the answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
They are.
They're looking for help. Yeah, and Chris, totally agree. Like I kind of mentioned this on our last show. Like, I just got an opportunity to go to work with a team that already has 2 coaches.
Right.
They already have 2 and need another one.
Wow.
So like you're exactly right. And Mike has tried to do it, and I've tried to do it. You can't watch your group, the other team, and then try to put it together by yourself and make the play based on half the information, because you only got to watch one breakout and then immediately had to look at your guys. Like, you really need somebody either watching them, or I like to watch the other team.
Right.
I want someone to watch us. Like, and I give them that sheet that I showed you guys at the clinic. I'm like, hey, circle if they die, right?
Right.
Like, a lot of times with AC, we had a guy who would watch them, and I would watch them too, and nobody would watch us, which was also tough, because then I didn't know what changes I need to make with us until at night, right? Until at night.
Right.
And then on day 2, that's too late. It's too late.
Right.
So you really need 2 guys. You need 2 guys, one to watch them, one to watch you. And then also, I think it's important that guy who's watching you is giving you feedback right away, right? Like, hey, we need to set this guy down, right? That's second time he's been shot off the break, or second time he's been shot out of his spot in a back gunfight. And yeah, so that collaborative thing you're talking about, man, it is so important.
Not only is it collaborative and important, but it also has to be somebody, there has to be a trust there, right? And there has to, in my opinion, there really has to be a pedigree there. There has to be a guy who understands not just that player, but that player's strengths, right? The whole SWOT analysis on that player, why this is happening, what they think there's happening. I mean, there's so much data that goes into watching. I too am one that wants to watch the opponent, but I feel like I need to be keeping an eye on my guys as well too, right? And a lot of times I ask the guys in the pit to help me do a lot of this stuff, because 2, 3, 4 brains are better than one, but all of this has to be done, and then you've got to decide all of this within 40 seconds. So a lot of people don't understand that. They think a coach goes out there and says, okay, the coach calls a line and then calls a breakout. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was based off of that, just if that's all I had to do, because my gosh, that's a dice roll. Big deal. Okay. Statistical analysis, no big deal. It's so much more to it than that. And, so it has to be somebody that not just who the players trust, but definitely who the coach trusts. That's of course, because I'm not going to take advice from somebody, right? What do you always say, Ryan? I'm not going to take advice from somebody I'm not going to call.
I don't take criticism from somebody I wouldn't ask advice from.
There it is. And that's so true. And that would have to be that position for an assistant coach or a second coach. So at least in my mind.
Well, I think it will, like I mentioned, it worked really well for us at World Cup because Ivan, again, is coming from the team. He was one of the players all along the entire season. He knows the guys. That trust factor is there between the players and him, and me and him together as well. So 100% agree with you there. And one more thing to touch upon too, it's you also need more than one person because at practice as well. You know, when I'm at practice, that's my time to more so watch the guys, help develop the skills that, that I feel like we need to work on, right? Or we talk about, hey, this is where we needed to improve from last event. Let's see what we can do during these practices. And I'm one guy, and obviously you got a snake side, you got a D side. I can't be on both sides the entire practice, right? So having an additional staff member being there, it helps tremendously. But yeah, there's a lot more that goes into this. Again, you hop off that field as a coach. I kind of like explaining this is, did you win? Let's say you lose the point. Was it because the guy got shot stupid? Is it a penalty? Was the penalty legitimate? Was it not? Do you need to change the play? Do you need to change the personnel? Is it just one guy, right? We can go on, and you got, less than a minute to make these decisions, right? So there's a lot that goes into this. And I think as we progress into this next level, there needs to be an organizational type of unit to help succeed, to make this team successful on the coaching part.
Hey, you have to have a staff.
Yes.
You have a whole staff of people. You got to have somebody who's going to control the pit, manage the paint, and do all the things that have to do with the pit, which includes like water and drinks and snacks. And then you got to have somebody who's at the field scouting every game, which I like to do. I like to scout as many games as I can, because I want to see how's the field breaking down. How's it changing? Because the field is going to change every set. It changes, as the day goes on from Friday morning to Friday evening. That field is going to change 6 to 8 times, depending on how many sets there are. It's just going to change. And then by Saturday morning, it's completely different because now everybody's gone home and watched it and made adjustments. Now on Saturday morning, it's changed.
So
in the
it's a
very
whole new
first
game.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just wild how quickly, not only is it wild, it's impressive how different the league is today. And it is has so much to do with Go Sports and Major League Paintball Plus and the ability to go back and watch all the games. That they always give us a really nice grandstand to be able to sit up high and scout everything out. It's amazing how quickly the teams, coaches, and staff are making adjustments now. It's wild. And it's a ton of fun.
I was going to say, it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot going on. So there's a couple of questions in here. And George, apologies. I was trying to not put Chris in a weird situation with the first question you asked, because I don't think he would be able to answer it, but I will ask him this one. Can you talk about what an asset it was having Ricky back on the field?
Yes. So Ricky Moran, he's one of the founding members of the team. Again, dating back to as far as 2013. A lot of people maybe in the chat, I'm sure they know who he is. Ricky wasn't able to play all the events this season, unfortunately. So the events that he did end up playing, he would play great. Now it's fast forward to World Cup. Leading up to World Cup, the kid had a huge vengeance leading up to it in terms of that. He was working his butt off 2 months before that, and every day at the field, every weekend at the field. Really wanted to prove himself and kind of show the guys, hey, I'm one of the founding members here. I can help you guys achieve, this win that we need, that we, desperately need to lock this up. And if you had the chance to watch him play, it was something truly incredible. The guy probably ran to the snake 99% of the times. He probably shot no more than one pod each time he went out. And the kid was just kind of like a sniper out there. It was incredible to watch. I don't know. I don't even have the words for it. Go back in the footage, go take a look at how he played. But he was a tremendous asset for the team. Played our snake side really great for us. I recall, again, the Sea Dogs coach mentioning that kind of last semifinals match leading up to it. that Ricky was one of the biggest problems for them on that snake side. So they had to really dedicate and shut him down on that side. And luckily they kind of did a good job of doing it. But to answer the question, a tremendous asset. Looking forward to what he can bring and help us win for this professional season coming up.
Excellent.
Yeah, Christian. I think actually it was only twice, but having only played on the pro field 3 times this year, do you have any mentality shifts to prep your guys for always playing on the big stage? I think it was only 2 times.
It was.
You
It
got
was twice.
third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they did get to. Sorry, he is correct though, because they got to play one of their preliminary matches at the World Cup.
Right.
On the pro.
Right.
Yeah. Good question, Christian.
Call.
Sorry.
I don't think much really changes in terms of the back end of stuff. It's just another paintball field for us. At the end of the day, again, the culture on the team, just give the guys a gun, get them out in the field. They're gonna go play. We're gonna go win. That's the point. Really doesn't change much. Of course, you as a paintball player, as a paintball fan, which we are, at heart, this is why we do it. Of course, stepping on that pro field, you feel a little bit different, right? That energy, knowing what goes down on this whole weekend on this field, incredible players, just incredible stuff overall. And so when we do walk on that field, we do have a respect for it. I could tell you that. It's not just like, oh, who cares? But we respect it, but at the same time, we're here to do a job, and that's all that matters when we go on there.
Another good answer.
Yeah, this is a great question. I know everyone has their sponsors, but how do you ramp up funds for this next step? Asking for myself as well. As we grow in divisions, we find it more expensive, therefore harder to stay consistent. More of a general question, I guess. It's not general at all, Christian. It's a great question, and it's one that I think a lot of people have because you're 100% correct. As you move through the divisions, your work becomes your workload becomes bigger, which means you're going to shoot more paint. I don't know how Leverage has been practicing, but when you go to practice another pro team, I mean, you're taking 80 to 120 cases of paint for the weekend, and it's more expensive. I know when we played semi-pro, we didn't do that. Unless we went to play a pro team, we went and played the Hurricanes quite a bit when I was with Austin Notorious, and we would try to bring as much paint as we thought we were going to need, which was usually 80 to 90 cases. So it's a great question. And I don't know that anybody's going to have a great answer about how to ramp up funds. You find yourself a really rich person who has a kid that you can put on your team. Not really. That's not really the answer, but
no. Or lots of car washes.
It's really hard. So
there's so many different ways.
But I'll let Chris talk about their sponsorship and the help they get if he can share that information, because he may not be able to.
If not, you're more than welcome to throw out your sponsors and how they've helped you, and give them some love.
Moving into the new season, as I mentioned before, there's some things that are still up in the not still. They are up in the air as we try to finalize the sponsors moving up into to the pro division. This past year, a huge sponsor of ours was the Enemy of the State, a huge and tremendous company. Best friends of ours, supported us every moment throughout the journey. And from what I believe I can release to you guys, they will be back for for next year as well. But other than that, there's probably no other sponsors I can mention at the moment. It's in the works. To kind of touch upon the question that he's asking about the funds, it's kind of I wish I had an answer for you, but I think as I was thinking about it, is what's helped us pay for things and be able to kind of do the things that we do is at the end of the day, you gotta win. Right, you gotta win at the end of the day. If we didn't win the tournaments that we won and accomplish the things that we did, I don't think we'd have the same name and sort of exposure that we have currently. On top of that, you have characters on the team like Chris Caputo, who's huge in the content world of paintball. Always interconnected, networking with other companies and players and sponsors. And so a combination of this has grown leverage to what it is today. And so people know who we are. And luckily, when we go to do things, for example, we leading up to it, during this past semi-pro season, we ran a clinic, and it turned out to be really great. You know, a lot of people came out. We had about like a 30-person clinic. And so these are the things that you have to start doing to pay for, you know, as things get more expensive, like you guys are talking about. Now, of course, the professional season, you're going to need a lot more money, as you guys are talking about. We're trying to secure some things down. I was given the permission to say that our options are open. You know, we're looking for investors if they're out there. It's harder. It's easier said than done. Like you said, it's just maybe we can get some kid who's rich and right. But jokes aside,
Yeah.
jokes aside, no. We although we have that invitation open in terms that we are kind of looking for. Our options are open. At the same time, this is an organization that we're not just going to take upon anybody. It's got to feel right. It's got to mesh right. It's got to be kind of that family feeling that we all talk about, that I've been talking to you guys about. Because if there's any sort of energy that feels off, we just know it's not going to work. So
Valid.
hopefully that could answer the question for him.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So what's your favorite drill of practice?
Careful how you answer this one, Chris.
No, my favorite drill, I would say, is we as a team, we love to run our island drills, and really give. Yeah, it might be a simple drill. I mean, again, I don't know, from me to you guys, I don't know if that's a simple one for you guys or not.
You're not talking to us. You're talking to the world.
Okay,
and
all
that's
right.
a great
I mean,
drill, by the
again,
way.
for us, it's the fundamentals to it. It just, we love to push each other on the field and see what we can bring out of each other in those situations that obviously most teams often find themselves in. And so if you've actually gotten a chance to see us play, you'll see that a lot of the players on the team, Zach Moran, Chris Caputo, Frankie Prosciutto, these guys have pulled out points where you would have been like, you're like, how do they do that? You know, and it's because they are constantly practicing these real game scenarios that often happen some of the time, right? And that they're able to develop that calm, cool composure instead of not being and having that experience, like the experience we talked about, stepping to this professional level and going through those matches, right? These guys put in the work, on the weekends, and we love to do drills like that because we know our weaknesses is what I'm getting at. And I feel that that's one of our biggest ones, and that's why we like to work on it.
Explain the island drill. What is it?
So it's two guys on one side, two guys on the other. You have the one guy that's in and the one-on-one. So you have one guy that's trying to push against the two, and you have it's vice versa on the other side.
Yeah, so it's 2-1.
Yeah.
1-2.
That's right.
Okay. Good. And then what are you trying? What are they trying to accomplish?
So your one guy is trying to get up while trying to hold them off, and vice versa. We'll have different variations of it. We know we can change it up a little bit, but that's kind of the initial foundation to it. It's being at a disadvantage and being in an uncomfortable position that you're normally not in, or that you obviously don't want to be in, right? And so that tends to bring out and help these guys perform in those real scenarios when it happens in real life, right?
Yeah,
that's right. It's twofold, right?
Good.
It's twofold. It's the survivability of the one being the thorn in the side and being that threat, and then it's the two attacking the weakness, right? Bullying a gun, trying to move things. So it's a great drill. It's one of the best drills out there that you can do. Situational drills are one of the best ways to go. I love situational drills like island drills and what I would call, the 5-on-3s, right? Any type of closing drills, right? You just won the breakout. Right. Now we got to close smart. I'll shut up now.
No,
but that's a great answer. It was a great answer.
And to me, this is the part of the show where we really should be adding this coaching content, because not only from the island drill do you get the communication things that should happen in your pair, right? Where you get those 2-man groups that begin to operate together. But then you can begin to add some communication tricks where you can pull that. So just because you have 2 on this side and 1 over there doesn't mean that one of these guns hasn't shifted, right? And
Right.
equal the
Right.
equation out. And then
Right.
how quickly do the other guys figure out that the equation is not lopsided, it's actually equal because this gun is that way, right?
Right.
And so you can use that island drill in so many different ways where you run 30-second, 1-minute things and then stop it and say, okay, where are the guns? What's happening? What's the
Right.
equation right now? Are we even or are we still out of balance? Right? There's so many things you can do with that drill. And I love it.
Right. Where's
Yep.
the best position we want to be in to close? Where's the best position to bully the one? Where's the best position for the one to defend from where he can have visual acuity while at the same time keeping the other 2 honest? There's so many different aspects to this. Does the one attack? Right? If he sees an opportunity to take advantage, does he shift? So there's lots of different ways. And of course, I think that's all dependent on the personnel and the layout. And there's so many different aspects to this. So I'll shut up now.
Stop saying that. Don't shut up. Keep talking. That's what we're
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, love to hear
How are you
you.
going to shut up?
Yeah.
This is a
I know.
podcast.
I
You're
leave it
supposed
to you
be talking.
professionals to talk about that kind of stuff. So
Oh my God. Yeah, Chris Kurtz. I think Mike just answered your question. Should the one pusher stay alive? Totally depends on the situation. Is he in the right? You've been to our coach's clinic. Should he move? What's the question you should ask?
why?
Why? Yeah.
Right?
why?
Like if he moves, why did he move?
Yeah.
Was he trying to put himself in a better? Yeah. Was he trying to put himself in a better position to cross and kill their one, or was he trying to put himself in a position where he can more handily manage the 2 people in front of it? Why?
Right.
If he moves,
did he move there so he could
maybe.
shoot a gap that they have to cross through, and that way he just has to defend the gap and not the 2? So there's so many different ways to look at it, and it really is dependent on layout and personnel, right? Their capabilities.
Right.
So
And
I love that.
situation.
I love that question.
Where are the 2 and the 1? It could be a situation where he needs to attack because his 2s are in bad spot. They're not in good positions to go win the game. So maybe, and now he's going to go lose the game fast, which is what he should do. Just go. Give it a shot.
There we go. So Joey, jumping the gun again. After we ask the favorite drill, we always ask this. We always ask
Joey,
this.
that's a great question.
It's a great question because here it comes. Chris, where do you see leverage finishing this season in 2025? What's your prediction?
So-
What's your goal?
My prediction, again, you guys know that I'm very confident, but I am realistic. There's a lot to learn for us as individuals, as a team, as an organization going into this. And anyone that thinks that they can just kind of come in this professional division league and that they're just going to somehow take first every event or win the series, right? It's unrealistic, right? You have to have that respect, those expectations, the reality of the work that's about to be needed to even just maintain yourself in this league, right? With that being said, I do feel and know in my heart that we will be a middle of the pack team in the professional league. I do have the utmost confidence in the players that are on this team. I'm very excited for you guys alone, for everyone else to really finally see the talent that these kids, these men, these guys have on the team, and how they work together and pull off these amazing wins and points. There's really no one that I see. I know they don't, and I know I don't. That there's nobody that they see on the field that like they're going to be scared of. It's they respect them with respect, but at the same time, it's let's go. Right? It's going to be me or you. So we practice, leading our whole careers, we practice against professional teams, semi-pro teams. When we were younger, we always held our own, and if not, done better at times in some of these teams. And so it's just, again, it's whoever's on the other end of that field, it doesn't matter. Pro, Division 4, whatever it is, everyone's going to get the same treatment. And the expectations are there. We know that we can do really well. And hopefully, I think that's it. But we'll be in the middle of the pack. I can guarantee you that.
Just 5 more guys with paintball guns, right? That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Excellent.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Where do you
Thank
guys
you.
play? Where do you guys play right now? Where do you practice?
So we here in the Northeast, we have about 3 fields that we kind of bounce around. There's one called there's one Long Live Paintball. There's another one called Battle Creek Paintball, and there's another one called Quick Shot. These are the fields that we've kind of always bounced around throughout our our careers over here. And that's really the only things that are available to us in this area. For the upcoming season, it seems like I had a little bit of permission to say this as well, that you might catch us a little bit more often down at Quick Shot Paintball. So, but besides that, we're always in the area. These guys live, breathe, and play paintball. You'll catch them during the weekdays at a Long Live Paintball. Sometimes they're at Battle Creek, and again, if not, we're going as a team to Quick Shot to go practice all together. So.
Excellent.
Love it.
Too.
Love it. Christian Budd says you're going to finish 7th in the season, which is where Tampa Bay Damage finished this season. So if you finish 7th, that would be an amazing first year.
That absolutely.
That would be great.
Yeah. Amazing first year.
I'd be very pleased with that finish. 100%.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Well, I
think any team would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, look, you have all these moves that are happening right now, right? And at the end of the day, as a player, as a fan, as a coach, I love it. I love change, right? I love to see when things are kind of up in the air and mixing all around. It creates it breeds that competition that we all live for, right? To watch a great game play, right? You don't want to keep watching the same people win over and over again type of thing, right? So I think with the changes that are happening now, with all these players moving around, with the finish that PB Fit had at World Cup that surprised everybody, right? I think what I'm getting at is that this has shown us that anybody can kind of win the event almost, I think, is what I'm trying to get at, right? It's anybody's ball, right? It's not your dynasties, your impacts, every single event. It's up in the air, and it's whoever wants to work the hardest to get it, and whoever's going to work as a team ultimately to achieve that goal. So I think it's a fair playing ground is what I'm getting at. And I think it's the most exciting time to be in the league right now.
If you look, the second place team in the league did not win a tournament. The third place team in the league did not win a tournament. The fourth place team in the league did not win a tournament. You have to go to the fifth place. So the first place team won 2. The fifth place team won 1. The sixth place team won 1. And the seventh place team won 1. But the second place, the third place, and the fourth place teams did not win a tournament.
Nope.
Didn't win a tournament.
That goes to that consistency that we were talking about.
So you don't have to win an event to have a great season, right? Now, I guarantee you ask San Antonio X Factor, you ask Impact, and you ask Houston Heat if they think they had a successful season, they'll tell you no, because we didn't win a tournament.
Right.
We didn't win a tournament. Right? Everybody wants to win, which you're supposed to. That's why you're here, right? But my point is, your statement is exactly right? Like, truly, we have a league now that you can come in, and again, Paintball Fit just proved it. You can come in, and with the right work ethic and the right attitude, you can win a tournament. You can win a tournament, and I'm hopeful that it's not an anomaly, right? Like Impact. Obviously just made massive moves acquiring some of the top names in paintball. They're obviously going to be a favorite. X Factor loses a big one with Axel. I don't know how much that really hurts them. They're really good still without him. Dynasty loses 2 big players, but they're still San Diego Dynasty.
Right.
They're still Dynasty. Right. Until they're not, they're Dynasty. So
Right.
Paintball Fit is in 6th place, who's only going to get better through the offseason. Tampa Bay Damage just got better, picking up Chris Shear. That's a big move for them. They're better. Tampa Bay Chicago Aftershock has made a move, picking up Connor Kelly. There may be another one in the works for them. So Damage, I think they probably got a little better. Shock, they got a little better, but they were really good already.
Agreed.
AC Diesel loses Alex Goldman, but again, played so well at World Cup that they could be really, really good. So then you get into the bottom 10, right? So Infamous sits at 10th, made 2 moves that I do think make them stronger. I don't know if how much more, like if that'll really change where they finish. I hope it does. The Bears really haven't made any changes. Aftermath has made some changes that we're not really able to talk about yet. Seattle Uprising hopefully makes no changes because they were getting better
there.
at the end of the season. So hopefully they make no changes. Hurricanes are 15th, literally just because of such a piss poor showing at World Cup.
Correct.
But they'll probably they need 2 to 3 guys, maybe. I mean, Mike has some news. Maybe he'll share at some point. But they maybe just need 1, and they'll be fine. Revo made moves. Blast Camp made no moves. ML Kings made a move. Austin Notorious makes a giant move. So everybody is changing, right? There's let's see.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, totally. So Red Legion so far, no player changes at all. Let's see. I have to go down to Paintball Fit, 6th place, no changes.
I hope they don't make it.
Ironman made changes.
Ironman, yeah.
So after the Bears, so you go 1st, 6th, 12th, 17th. Those teams made no changes. Every other team made changes. Some of them massive changes. Like the Austin Notorious thing is massive. The other thing that the Austin Notorious thing does is it makes every single team in the league really good.
Yeah.
They're all really good. Honestly, leverage right now is the only question mark. Everybody else is good. You guys are the only question mark. But you have such a cool opportunity coming into a league that's better than it's ever been, and to go in and prove that you belong, prove that you deserve a seat at that table.
We'll be there. We'll be at that table.
God, it's gnarly.
Love it.
Yeah, just look at it. Just what I was like, man, it's gnarly now.
It's gnarly, and it's still early. So still early.
Yeah, Joey, what are the good rumors with Red Legion?
Yeah, I'd like to know what those are.
Yeah, Joey, we talked about that at the very beginning of the show with CJ Cantor. What are the good rumors? Not that we're gonna go through them all, but
or put any real weight on them.
Yeah. I know that they're trying to find 1 or 2 guys, but they haven't really made any changes yet.
Yeah, I mean, if they're talking about the Russians from Heat, I don't know if that's going to happen, but who knows?
Heard Fedorov maybe.
So yeah, he's hearing the same thing from Heat, right? So Fedorov or Mishka, one or both or neither. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, Chris, you got anything else you want to leave us with?
Not off the top of my head. I think we went over some great stuff. I appreciate you guys definitely having me on. I'm excited. I'm excited for the whole entire league, you guys personally, to see the team play and perform. I'm excited for myself to take upon these new challenges and the role of what it's going to take to do this, right? I'm happy you guys extended the invitation of the networking of the coaches, right? It's great to know that it's not. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Joey Blut's in here. He's another one. You can grab Joey at any point, talk to him. He's
100%.
Really, he'll talk with
great
you,
asset.
and he no bullshit. If you ask him, hey, what do you think of my group? He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Appreciate honesty.
But
no, I think we covered some great stuff.
Yeah. Good. Well, welcome to the league. Congratulations. Really excited for you and your guys. Again, and Christian from In the Pits podcast just mentioned this. This is the scariest tier 5 we've ever seen. It's the scariest tier 5 we've ever seen. I mean, you guys, Tauntaun FSU, ML Kings, and Blast Camp. That's the tier 5. That's a gnarly tier 5.
That is a gnarly tier 5.
Yeah. Gnarly tier 5. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Again, man, if you have any questions, anything, reach out. Love to be helpful.
Yeah. Love to talk to you, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. God
Talk
bless.
soon. Good luck.
So,
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.
yes, sir. I got to tell you,
fun.
it sounds like he recognizes what he is up against, and he will be prepared. He's a highly
for sure.
intelligent guy.
Love the confidence too. Like you got to have that.
I do
right?
too. You got to have
Yeah.
it, right? And
Gotta have
right, you and I always talk about the fine line between arrogance and confidence. I think he's right where the needle's right where it needs to be. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I do. I
Respectful,
really do. Respectful.
but everybody's going to, we're going to give everybody.
Everybody's going to get it.
Everybody's going to get it.
It's
Yeah,
your
love
us,
that.
right? It's your us. So I love it. I'm looking forward
Love
to
that.
seeing what they do. And shout out to my dual citizenship, Chris Caputo out there. So fellow Bison.
I was gonna mention too, Dan Shelley's also created a new podcast.
Yes.
You guys, make sure you go subscribe to his podcast. It's going to be great. If you don't know Dan Shelley, Photographer of the Year in 2023, one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet. Also an amazing photographer. So go check out his podcast. Should be really, really good. Yeah, ready for the Hurricanes tryouts for sure. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I hear Joey Blute's coming to try out, so should be really.
Get this,
really
Kevin Brettauer is coming. SK's coming.
SK's coming to try out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really good.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Speaking of that, are you ever going to send us a weekend so that we can start scheduling out our payment?
Right.
For,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So I won the bet of the coaches show. So yeah, I've got to send a weekend. So what I asked for winning the bet was for Ryan and SK and Shane to come spend a weekend with me in Alabama. And we're going to go shooting some guns and go fishing and do a bunch of cool stuff. But we're also going to give back to the community. And we're going to try and have a coach or at least some form of clinic or some kind of give back to the paintball community in Alabama. And
it'll be free
field, and it'll be free. So
yeah,
everybody will come out and you get 4 coaches, three really good coaches and one semi-pro guy that's going to come out there and really help y'all and give back to the community. And I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. I would get Joey to come too, but he's too expensive.
We're going to have a ton of
he
fun.
Doesn't leave Florida.
The bet he's talking about is for our picks, right? So
That's
our
right.
picks ended up being Mike Bianca was 31 and all 3 of the rest of us were 30. That's how close it was.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
That's true. Yeah.
I won something this year. Ryan. I'm so happy
you
for
did.
Myself. So
you did.
Anyway.
It was a ton of fun.
But anyway, it was good time.
So again, congratulations to Leverage.
Yes.
Big deal for them. Do you want to add something?
Well, I saw Joey is in there real quick. Joey, you say you're going to go back and watch the show. At the beginning of the show, let us know what you think of Ryan and I's comments about Damage's capabilities now. See if you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on that. So that's all I want to share.
Talked a lot about all the options you're going to have. It's going to be fun.
Yep. It's going to be a good time.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of the Coaches Show. Thank you to Chris Fermoselle for joining us tonight to Major League Paintball for all the support of the show. Darren Cessna, Alex Sorensen, Kevin Fillers, and Tom Cole. If you want to improve your game, possibly play for Team USA, get the best knowledge in paintball at bkipaintball.com. Also, check out paintballcombine.com. That is where we will have our next coaches clinic posted. It'll be February the 1st. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk a lot about how to run a tryout, things to look out for in players. We'll also show you some things about literally how to do bunker address and a bunch of different things you need to be taking home to coach your groups. So hopefully we have that information out very, very soon. Also check out the summer camp. It will sell out very quickly. If you're looking for new gear in 2025, you play the MSXL. If you play the USXBL, if you play the WCPPL, the list goes on and on and on. Check out maxedsportswear.com. Talk with Charles. Let him know we sent you from the Coaches Show. Next week, I'm going to try really hard to get Brad McCurley on. I know we were supposed to have him last week. I'm really hoping it works out for next week. I will get with him ASAP so that we can talk with him about Team Heroines, do the WNXL World Cup game breakdown, and they were also the series champions. So hopefully we can get them on. Again, congratulations to Team Leverage and your promotion to the Pro Division. We look forward to seeing what you can do. As always, I'm Ryan Gray with Mike Bianca. Be responsible.